Hey guys, I'm gonna make a really quick video for you going over how to create Flappy Bird. The way this game works is I just obviously press the button. This is what you probably already know Flappy Bird is, but you'll notice that the pipes keep respawning. I get a point every time the pipes respawn or I get through, and the location of them changes each time. Some things you may not notice, but the pipes will get faster every 5. They just get a tiny bit faster so that I'm scaling it appropriately. And once I die, which is inevitable, I'm not really very good at this game, even though I'm on a great roll right now. There it is. It says game over and allows me to play again. Excellent. All right, so let's get started. First of all, I will show you this step that I kind of skipped over, but what you're going to end up doing is starting a brand new Visual Studio Windows form. So you will create a new project and search for projects, just search Windows form. And this is the one that you want. You don't have to do the .NET framework. You can just go with this one. And then, from there, make sure it's also C#, not Visual Basic. But from there, just click Next. And I named this one Flappy Bird. I already have one started, so I'm not going to open it up again. And you guys probably know that it takes a minute for the form to load, so I'm going to skip over that for you. But from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight into all of my visuals, and I'm going to resize this form a little bit so that the screen is similar to your phone screen, which most of you probably played Flappy Bird on. I'm going to do a few other things. I'm going to change the background color to something nice and light, kind of a sky blue. Beautiful. And then from there, I'm going to add 2 labels. These will be pretty simple. The first one I'm going to call LBL underscore score. And inside the text, I'll write score at 0. And then let me boost the size of that font. I'm going to change the font. Yep, Rockwell looks pretty good. Perfect. And then I'm going to do a second label, which will be my title. So how about I just Control C and Control V. And then this one, I'm going to name LBL underscore title. And make sure that if you're going to follow my code exactly, you write the exact same names that I'm putting in here. Remember, that's LBL underscore score, LBL underscore title. If you don't, then you'll have to rewrite your code slightly different so that like your names match up, so everything works just fine. But okay, inside of this, my text will just say, for right now, Flappy Bird. That looks fine. And then I'm going to add, I think it's only 4 picture boxes. So the first picture box I bring in, once I find it, there it is. I'm going to anchor this one to the bottom. This one's going to be my ground. In order to do that under layout, it's actually docking it to the ground. But I'm going to click on dock, change it from none to the bottom one. So there it is. I'm going to name it ground. Usually all my picture boxes, if they're important images, I'll name them IMG underscore something. But since this one really has more of a specific purpose, I'm going to call it ground. And then I'm going to change the background color to a brown. All these look fine. I'm just being picky. There we go. I could add an image, but I want to make this as fast as possible, so I don't have one ready. For the picture boxes, I'm going to add one here, which I will call player. If you find this game really difficult to play, you may want to consider like increasing or decreasing the size of this box. But again, I'm going to name it player. And just for right now, I'm going to put in a placeholder color. That way like I can see it. And I'm going to add 2 more images. And those will also be picture boxes. And all right, for these ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it at the top and make them both about the same size. I'm going to make them fairly large, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm doing this, but these will be my pipes. And I'm going to make them the same size, but this second one, I'm going to, an easy way to like copy and paste it is move it over and press Control. There we go. And this one will be my top pipe. So I will name it top pipe. This one will be my bottom pipe. And I'm going to name it bottom pipe. And the reason why I'm making these so large, I know it's going to sound a little bit silly, but when you look at my other Flappy Bird, what I end up realizing was when I shrunk or expanded this image, it got distorted and looked really, really weird. So instead of shrinking it, what I did was I just changed the height of it. So this one will either, well, start way up there or start like part way down up until it can't go any further. But I just end up finding out like that looks way, way better. All right, next couple of things I'm going to do after I have named both of those objects, which it looks like I have. Excellent. For the bottom pipe, I'll kind of put them in position right now too. All right, let's go. For the bottom pipe, I'm going to want the ground to show up in front of the pipe. So easy way to do that is I'm going to right click on the ground and click Bring to Front. And I'm going to do the same thing for both of my labels. That way the pipe doesn't overshadow them. Okay, that all looks good. And now let's see. I need to add images, and I'm also going to need to add a timer. I think I'm going to add the timer right now. The timer I'm going to call Game Timer. And the interval and everything else, I'm just going to keep as it is. I'm probably going to change all of that later, but I think I'm going to change it in my code to make sure that nobody misses those elements. So, all right. Adding images. First of all, this is how I end up doing it. I found a few images that I really liked, and I end up saving them. If they show up as a web file, then I need to do a screenshot and save it from there. But once I have my image, right now I'm going to go ahead and, oh, and let me show you how I deleted the background too. I just did a Google search, remove background, and remove.bg was the website that I went to. It works pretty well. It's a site that I wouldn't really trust for everything. I haven't read the privacy agreement yet. However, I know that like it will only see whatever files I end up putting into it, so I'm not too worried, but I wouldn't put like many like personal images inside of it. But okay, that's what I end up doing for this image, and after I remove the background, I just download the preview. I've already done that, so I don't need to do it again. Now, for each of my images, I'm going to remove that background that I put in temporarily. And then I'm going to add an image. Important thing, you want to add the image, not a background image. Another way you can do that is click on this tiny little box right here. But I'll click Choose Image, Import, and that one was bird. That looks good. And then size mode, I'm going to stretch. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for both of these pipes. Remove that background color. And I want to add an image, not a background image. And that one is going to be the pipe image that I found. And again, I want to stretch that image. Not find the image mode easy, so I'm just going to call that little button. All right, stretch image, there we go. Perfect. And then this pipe, you guys will notice when I add that image, it's going to be upside down. I haven't found a very good way to fix it over here in the properties, so we're going to fix that in our code. But let me go ahead and add that image. Change the size mode to stretch and get rid of that background color. Goodbye. I'm going to line these up and move it way up to start out. Oh, and then one final thing I'm going to add is a button. And this will be my play game button. And then let's see. I should see under design. Name. I'm going to name this BTN underscore play game. And just for quick appearance sake, I'm going to add some background color. If you wanted to, you could add an image. Under font, I found this Ravi font is kind of fun to play with. I'll make it bigger. I'll probably have to shrink that. And then under the text, I'll change that to play game. Nope, that looks good to me. Okay, excellent. Perfect. All right, now how about first thing I do is I fix that pipe. In order to do that, I'm going to double click on the form. So when the form loads, I name that one top pipe. So I'm going to reference it, toppipe.image. And then this is a new method that I haven't showed you guys before, but it's rotate flip. And then inside of it, it's looking for rotate flip type. So I'll do that. And then dot, I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees and then flip horizontally, which is this one right here, rotate flip 80, flip X. It's not flip over the X-axis. That confused me at first, but it's a horizontal flip. So there it is. And you guys will notice that on my design, it's still going to be off, but when I actually run the game, you'll see that it's going to flip around and look exactly how I want it to. Which, yep, everything's looking good. Perfect. And then next of all, I want to add a couple of other little things. First of all, I'm going to do this. The game timer. When it starts out, I don't want it enabled, so I'll keep it as false. But one thing I really do want to do is I want to set the interval. 1,000 would be 1 time per second because it's in milliseconds. If I want it 50 times in a second, like 50 FPS, I'm going to make it 20. Excellent. All right. Next, I'm going to add a few instance variables. Really, I'm only going to add 4. could add more, but I want to randomize the height of these pipes. So I'm gonna need to invoke my magic book of random. So random equals new random. And then next of all, I'm going to have 3 integer values. One of them will be obstacle speed. And I'm going to initialize that at 8. I can change that if you find that it is too easy. I'm also going to add gravity. And the gravity is going to be 15. And then last but not least, my score, which I will initialize at 0. And just so you guys are familiar, this is going to be for the obstacle or pipe movement. We don't want those affected by gravity, but we do want our player to be affected by gravity. And then if we want to, we could add one more for high score, but for right now, how about I just sort of keep it as it is. All right. Next of all, let's see. I will initialize the timer. But let me briefly pause.